Now, the trickery and the strategy. And I'm predominantly talking about the characterization of Penelope and Odysseus here. In the poem, when it's not a woman or magic, it's often Odysseus's cunning, his cheekiness, his strategy, but also his hubris and ego that make things happen in the story. Matt Damon and the script gave us none of that. And so once again, weird things had to be added in to keep the story chugging along. Damon's Odysseus was a very straightforward, strong soldier guy, racked with guilt about his contribution to the Trojan War. And to facilitate this new but kind of bland characterization of Odysseus, an entirely new character, Sinon, who doesn't appear in the Odyssey or the Iliad, but instead comes up in Virgil's Aeneid, which is a Roman source, had to be added. Now, I do understand that Homer's Odysseus, although cunning and intelligent, with strategic mind that is matched only by one person, his wife, by the way, but we'll get to that, he is also an ugly, short, egomaniac who cheats on his wife and whose hubris endangers his men. Now, I'll say also controversially, Odysseus fundamentally doesn't evolve or learn much by the end of the poem. He gets a happy ending, and he gets away with doing some pretty crappy things. He is a very silly, clever guy. Now, I understand that this does not make for a very likable movie protagonist in our current puritanical world. And so in the movie, an entirely modern morality was kind of imposed onto this ancient character, but that didn't work for me. Nolan clearly wanted a story about a tortured soldier's guilt, more than a story about a silly guy's adventurous homecoming journey. For this reason, and many people have argued this, Nolan should have just made a Trojan War story. His main character could have been Agamemnon, and we can see how much Nolan loved his Agamemnon scenes, or Hector, or Menelaus. He could have written in whatever kind of story he wanted, and it might have been a pretty okay movie. If his main guy was Menelaus, for example, instead of the dead wife trope that he loves to have in his movies so much, he could have had an abducted wife. That would have been so on theme for Nolan. He could have still gotten his happy ending. A tortured soldier with a sense of duty, an absent female character whose memory torments the main guy with his complex feelings about her. The Nolan movie writes itself. Odysseus is just not that guy. Not just because I know how he is characterized in the poem, but also because of what literally happens to him. And again, I'll give specific examples.